Let's do an API query in our test. So let's start doing something real. So I found an API that we can use freely. There are several APIs that are open, publicly open for using. And this is one of them. For example, this will basically return some countries. Like I have the query here. Let me do it again. It will return several entities, each including a country with different fields or attributes. So let's try to do this. So what I'll do is I will use a keyword which will come from the request library. So again, this is a keyword, right, which is already implemented inside one of the libraries. So what I have to do is we have to import this library. So now we will see another section in our test file, which will be the settings section. In the settings, we can just import the libraries and do some other settings that we need. But for now, let's start importing the library that we need. So it will be request library. So now, previously it was not recognized, right? Now the test knows that it is a keyword coming from the request library. But how did I know that I could use get keyword from the request library? So for that purpose, I can just go to again Robot Framework website and see the documentation about different libraries because there are several libraries that I can use. So if I go to this resources section, I can see a lot of libraries like Selenium library I can use for UI automation. There's RPA framework. There's this one is what I need for API requests, right? So I can send my queries and I can collect the responses. So if I go inside, I will see how I can use it. So this is exactly what I have done, right? I just imported as a library under the settings section, and inside test cases I just use the type of query. In this case it was just a get query and the address of the URL. So now I just used the type of the query and I need the address. So what was it? I used to collect different countries. It was this one, right? restcountries.com. Let's execute now. It passed. Very cool. But actually, I don't have an idea about what this line did, right? So let's try to actually print the response. So actually, when I was checking the library, I just saw how I can do that because here there's an example. It is assigning the return value to a variable, right? Let's do the same here. So now we see how we can import the libraries under the settings and how we can assign the return value to a variable. Now I captured, saved the return value, the response value with a variable, and now I can print this in my console. Again, let's do log to console, and I just want to print this value. So when I run this test, what I'll say here is on my console, I see here, right? This is, oops. This is the response I got from my query. It was 200, which means it was successful. And since I just print the response, not the response body or the JSON uh, content of response, I just see this. But if I go to debug console, I can see more context about the response. This was the list of entities returning from my query.